Good morning, everyone. Today is day 16 of our life transform journey. And today I want to bring about the joy of listening to the birds and nature around us. Being in water, I'm a bit of a water baby, so this is kind of my sweet spot. And I kind of began this amazing journey in this spot. It was like on one of the first days that I actually ended up locking down because I just felt it was such a personal part of my story. But it's interesting because it's knowing that we get to come from this authentic space of love within us. And when we're blocking ourselves from any of the pearls of wisdom that this life has taught us, when we've buried it on a subconscious level, it's difficult for us to actually find our way through it. And so today I wanted to share with you because the reasoning I'm going to bring up a story again is only because knowing when we're lowering our vibration, I often will do that because I want to connect with someone on a level where they can actually understand that I understand that I'm coming from a space of like I've been there, I know what you're feeling. But unfortunately, when I come from that space, and if I'm not maintaining a high vibration, it's difficult for me to actually be the example for people to be able to pull themselves free from whatever that prison is that they've locked themselves in. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I realized that as I unlocked that core wound of abandonment, that underneath it, there was the association in my subconscious of how home and money equaled loss. And coming from that space in the subconscious was creating separation within myself and separation with community, with you. And so rather than my subconscious story of, well, I have to go there for you to be able to understand that I know how you're feeling, then it disempowers both of us. So my commitment is that I will not lower my vibration. I will stand in unwavering love for the legacy of love that I am here to create in this world. And that is to honestly speak any truth that that feels like it's part of the raising of a vibration, and wanting to also share that inside of that story, because I know a lot of people are shedding old patterns right now. And it has to do with being able to be in integrity with their heart and also come from a space of authenticity. And so, like in the past, okay, so here's a little fun story. In the past, I would have chosen to try to fit myself into other people's worlds, and realizing that is not a kindness to me or the other person. Being able to chameleon is a gift that I learned as an empath to be able to survive. And we're not called to survive anymore. Survival is something that, yes, there's a hierarchy of needs that are required to survive, but we're elevating beyond that. So when you come from the space knowing the truth in your heart, you actually don't have to be focused on the survival portion. You can focus on being you. So you get to do you, boo, and I get to do me. And we'll see where we meet in the middle. And if it's a good match, that's awesome. And so I say that kind of jokingly, but not. So a little over a month ago, I decided that I wanted to, there's a feather, our angels are with us. I wanted to create an opportunity for myself to get to just really know people, like have an authentic connection. And so I decided to go on, and I called it 50 first dates, so that I could meet people and know what they were all about, and just give them the space to tell me who they were. And so it's been a fun journey. I've actually been kissed twice in that whole experience. Once there was like no warning. So men, it would be nice to ask permission. And that gentleman actually got a second date. But he didn't get a date after that. And on the second date, I made sure to tell him that, it would be really a kindness to just ask permission, because I wasn't in the space where I was feeling that it was time for a kiss, even though I was saying goodbye. So that was a really awesome boundary lesson for myself. And then when I went on retreat in California, most of the time I was spent camping and just really developing the relationship with myself. But I ended up opening up the Bumble app, and on one of my last days there, I decided to book a few dates. And so I had 3 dates booked. And so what happened was I was on the first date, and a guy that I'd been talking to that there wasn't a date booked said, "I'm on my motorcycle and I'm on my way up. Can we meet?" And so I actually had 4 dates that day. And it was the only day that I had dates in California. But it was just really interesting because, it's allowed me the space to really feel into who I am. Who am I when I'm holding boundaries, when I'm around people, when I'm feeling into the energy of divine masculinity, and then where is the toxic masculinity? And also, where is it not? Where is it truly divine masculine? And so it was really sweet, because when I got to California, I'd been pretty wrapped up in work. And so it was kind of a really beautiful space of decompression and really looking at the pearls of wisdom from the abandonment wound, and also looking at how was I making home and money a part of separation and loss, and how did I get to heal that? And so it was really beautiful, because even though I wasn't in the retreat with my advanced coaches, but I was just a few miles away in the campground. I was over this beautiful lake. I was tuning into the birds every morning, and it was absolutely glorious. And there was days where I was almost magnetically pulled down to the earth, and I could not move. I was just in this space of love, and it was so beautiful, because I even had some connections with the coaches, and they're like, were you tapping into class? Because I saw you in class today. And then I talked to my teacher and mentor, Rika Zimmerman, and just on Wednesday night, 2 nights ago. And I was talking to her about this wound of realizing that the wisdom that was inside of the abandonment, that home and money had this feel of separation and loss, which is why why I wasn't pulling them in. I wasn't magnetically attracting them, because why would I want to if my subconscious was attached to the idea that home and money equaled loss and equaled separation? So a couple of those areas, and I'm just going to give you the names of a couple instances. A community. So I was involved in spiritual community for 3.5 years. I was moved from one center in Colorado to another center in California after an incident, and basically I feel like it was partially to keep my mouth shut, because they knew they couldn't just let me go. But then when I got there, I was under the impression that we were merging with the hot springs next door, which we had 50% ownership of. But then, you know, as I'm there, I realize, the CFO comes in from the hot springs and says, we can't do this, just because the codes would be hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring these buildings up to code. So moving them from a 501c3 or the status of the religious spiritual organization, moving that into a for-profit business, it just wasn't going to be feasible. So it was done kind of on the sly. We didn't realize that they put the property on the market for sale. And so there had been people that had been a part of the community since the 70s. So this organization had bought the property in the 70s, and there was actually people on site that were a part of that organization from way, way back then. So long story short, the property sold, and then I decide I'm going to go on a little sabbatical, and I take a house sitting and pet sitting position in Puerto Rico, which was absolutely amazing. I made amazing new friends, open to connecting with nature in a whole new way, with the wild horses and with the animals there at the Vieques Humane Society. I would go in on Fridays and walk the dogs, and just had this really beautiful relationship with the land, with the community. I got involved in the Rotary Club. I got involved in the scuba community a little bit, and it was so fun. Oh, it was amazing. I loved it. Loved every second of it. So, before I returned, so I had thought that I was just on a sabbatical. I thought that I was going to return to Colorado, to the headquarters. And I got an email and basically said, you know, we just want to let you know that we feel it's in everyone's best interest if you don't return. So that was highly interesting. So that was where I had built this community of unwavering love, like even kept my mouth shut, didn't say a peep to anybody through my years with their organization, and only told just a handful of people about the incident that occurred, and that, you know, I just felt not honored, not held for my divine feminine essence in someone who was married, who had wanted to have an affair. And so it was very, very interesting. And it was commonplace there. So yeah, so I've never told anyone about my affiliation with Emissaries of Divine Light in that way before, publicly. So that is a new share for me. And I'm being authentic and true to my heart in sharing it. And I'm not going to I'm not going to take the weight of any interaction that I had, as not seeing it as a pearl of wisdom, because I learned a great deal from it. And unless I harvest that pearl of wisdom, I am basically giving my divine masculine power away to someone else. And I'm not going to do that anymore. And another incident that I wanted to share with you today was my experience with Access Consciousness. And it's beautiful because the second date that I have with someone that I met weeks ago, he also has been trained in access bars. And I'm not sure how far down the rabbit hole he's went. He's a very wonderful man. But he is, I'm just going to leave it at that and leave him a mystery for now. But there's a lot of really wonderful things about this man. And so we're going to share a session. And, and also knowing that as we share it, neither of us are affiliated anymore. So it's no longer access bars. Like, we are tuning into the energy of the universe, the energy of unwavering love. And we're pulling that energy in, and whatever hand placements, were designated for that particular modality, we can actually choose what feels led from the guidance within the coherence between our head and our heart to bring forth whatever is generative for us. And so I'm sharing that with you because what I saw in Access Consciousness was a total... I had actually never taken a class with Rika before. I'd been with Access Consciousness for years. I had my teachers. One is still with Access, which is Andrea, and then Corey Michelle recently got very public about her experience. She was one of my teachers while I was in Access Consciousness. I've had a few others who have all blessed me. Like, I have been immensely blessed by teachers. But I also know, what I know now is that there's a lot of manipulation that occurs within the system. And a lot of it is not aligned with divine love, with unwavering love and truth. Because if it had been, I wouldn't have heard things come out of the founders' mouths that was very derogatory, very nasty about my current teacher, who I absolutely love. And I had listened to on interviews. She had been very highly active. She had been on a lot of podcasts. She had been like one of the top facilitators in their company, and was very, very proactive with sharing her light and love in the world and bringing it through in a way that was very aligned with divine energy, with God. And so that's why it resonated with my heart, is because that's where I come from, is that beautiful space of aligning my heart, my brain, my higher consciousness with that consciousness of creation. So being in that energy. And so as soon as I heard the derogatory talk of what was being spouted, like, I had this 180 feeling of, this is not aligned with my heart when they're talking so nasty about someone who I absolutely resonated with, that I had so much love in my heart for. And you know what it did? It actually pivoted me to be on Rika's path. And so as soon as I could afford to, I actually worked with Corey Michelle a bit, and I worked then with, and Corey at the time was still, I think she was still with Access at the time. But then when I just heard all this nastiness being talked about with Rika, and then I actually got on some calls with Rika and her team, I was like, I think it's time for me to move on. And so that's what I did. And so for 3 years now, I've been in the Advanced Life Transformed coaching platform with Rika Zimmerman. And she is a light of amazing presence that is able to really connect in on such a soulful level. And I love her so much. And that's why I love being a part of the community of the advanced coaches. It's why I wanted so much to be in the advanced retreat, which was over and beyond our coaching program. But what I received was something so beautiful. And it was like the realization that you can be in a community and not be separate from it, even when there's events going on. And you can tap in, tune in to your heart, and you can be in the room with them. You know, they're the only place where illusion exists and the separation exists is in the mind. And the subconscious and the ego program of wanting to attack and defend, be a runner, be a victim, is what holds us back from that experience. So coming from that space where the ego wants to control you and your subconscious patterns of being the victim, whatever your circumstances is, are you the victim of circumstance? Are you the victim of people? Whatever it is, you know, and coming from a space of being the victor of your life, which is the space that I know is where creative energy flows. And so don't allow those manipulations. Every time you allow any of those manipulations, what they're doing is they are bringing you back in to separation and stealing your power. They're putting you in a prison cell inside of your own heart. You have the key at any moment to unlock that door and actually realize it wasn't even locked the whole time. You built this amazing system that was allowing you free will to let yourself out at any time. But unfortunately, so many of us think that that door is sealed shut. Like we've built these walls around our heart to protect ourselves because we've allowed ourselves to buy into a victim story, needing to be the defender or attacker, or needing to run away. I was a really good runner too. You know, I think my ego was pretty well versed in the manipulations of every one of them. And so, yeah, so who am I as I stand firm in the space of unwavering love, knowing that the divine feminine and the divine masculine is within me. You know, I was sharing something the other day with one of my fellow coaches, and it was, you know, the keys are within us all along. Like even religion has given us some really beautiful keys. And we've learned to walk in our own shadow in the valley of death. And I did it really, really well. You know, I've traversed death and grief and divorce and, you know, separation with my child, which I'm very grateful. You know, I am in a healing process with that relationship, and see him as whole and with the divine spark of love within him, connected to his own magic of what he needs for his experience. And so whatever we're creating in that process, it's been really beautiful, because every time we are stepping away from feeling that alignment in our heart, it is only there to remind us that we're not there. That is the ego's job. That is my ego's new job that I've given it, is that anytime that I am out of alignment, anytime I feel that twinge of separation, of feeling the victimhood of loss, or any of the stories that tell me I need to run away, that I need to defend and attack, I just get to come back home to my heart, which is alignment to love, so I can have it here, so I can build it anywhere. I can take it with me. I can be that mystical nomad who you never know where I'm going to be, or I can choose to build a solid foundation and have a home that I can always return to. Right now, it is always in my heart, forever in my heart, but that doesn't mean I can't have a second home somewhere, whether it's here in Arizona, whether it's in Minnesota, wherever it might be. And I feel like that was part of this journey, was to recognize the beauty of all of that it's only there to call us back home to the love that we are in our divinity. The doorway to our divine destiny is your heart. It is your North Star. It's going to guide you in the direction that you need to go. We only need to tune into it. And then we also have the beauty of our So we have neurons in our brain that support us. We have neurons in our heart that support us. We have neurons in our gut that support us. And we have them throughout our body as well. But if you tune into your body, and so what happens if you are stuck in a pattern of victimhood, of the runner, attacker, defender, if you're needing to stay in story, you cannot have access to the fullness of you, which is this amazing body, no matter what your body looks like right now. Your body is absolutely a phenomenal organism. It's trained to heal itself, for one. Think of a cut. You know, we get a cut. The body knows how to heal itself. It does that all on its own automatically. Your body is trained to heal itself when you write whatever story is going on in your mind and your body. So stop being attached to whatever someone else told you, because you are a sovereign being. You have agency over your body, and you get to take responsibility. You get to be self-responsible for what you're feeling and not push it off on anybody else. And that's a gift. And if you say, I can't feel, numbness is a feeling. You're just at the very beginning stages of that, and you can unlock more of that. And one of the modalities that I use, and I've been trained over 20 years in different modalities. So using biofeedback, I use some quantum biofeedback tools that work with vibrational energy. That's one that I love. But I can actually feel it now without tapping in with actual machines. Like, I can actually sense into the field so that I can access the wisdom and knowledge that's there. But I use somatic release breath work. And so I've been working on creating a membership site that allows you access to me through this site very, very minimally expensive. It's cheap. It's super affordable. So if you are not able to join a coaching program with me, because I get to value myself and my time and my unwavering love, and be that space where I offer people one call to feel into the gifts that are available for them to be able to choose themselves and this inner knowing of healing within. And you can be on that journey alone, which is a difficult journey when you're not trained in different tools that help you come back home to your heart. But you can do it, you can learn, and there's tons of YouTube videos. There are tons and tons of amazing teachers online. There are tons and tons of coaches, and some of them are cheaper than me. And when I say cheaper, they're probably cheaper in ways that, you know, we get to do our inner work. We get to really dive deep into these pearls of wisdom so that we can be the lighthouse in the world, shining our own light, standing unwavering in love in that state of consciousness where we magnetically pull to us what is most aligned with us, but we don't have to lower our vibration to actually come down to anybody else's level. And so I am so grateful for this day. I'm so grateful for this share today, to be this space of unwavering love for you. I will put the link below for the free audio gifts that my business partner, Jacqueline Ortiz, and myself have created through the Extraordinary You program. There's a whole introductory 5 audios that help you to work with some immersive brainwave technology. So it's kind of like a surround sound experience, using solfeggio frequencies, using binaural beats, using guided meditation and hypnosis, allowing me to guide you into that space of love for yourself. So you could continue to listen to that introductory session, and within time, I am sure that you would be able to fully, you know, if you did it like every day, I think you could do it free of charge. Like, you wouldn't need me as your coach and guide. But I pay coaches and guides, and I've paid a lot of money. And we're talking over 20 years' time. Jacqueline Ortiz and I totaled it up, and I know together we were well over $1 million. And for what I've put into myself and the programs and modalities coaches over these last 20 years, it was at least $500,000. So when I share with you that my coaching program is $17,000 to work with me for a year, I fully know that every penny of it is worth it. And I know that if you take to heart everything that I share with you, that you will have an amazing breakthrough in your life, in your world. And when you look back after a year's time, you will recognize a totally new you, because you've come home to your new true, it's not new, it's always been there, it's your soul. And the heart is the echo chamber of your soul. So you've come home to feeling your own heartbeat and knowing the truth of love inside of you. So that's where we get to work from. That's where we get to live from. That's divine love. And that's the doorway to your divine destiny. So if you'd like to join me in that adventure, I am here for you. I also am booking stages for the rest of 2023, whether it's a retreat event, working with somatic release breathwork, whether it is up on a stage at a college and university, whether it's at a business. In corporate America, I worked in corporate America until I was downsized. I worked for Sprint, and that department got moved from Minnesota to Tennessee. So I've been through downsizing. I've also been through getting fired. And that was when I truly said, I will not sell anything until it is fully aligned with my heart. I made that declaration back in 1998. I would not sell anything that was not fully aligned with my heart. And that was because customer service, so this is how old this story is. When they deregulated the local telecom, the direct line, the service where they integrated the local lines and long distance, that's when I was selling business services. And I was working for McLeod USA at the time. And so we had went from 0% market share to 52% market share. And basically I had used up all of my contacts. There was, and all it was I got put on, somebody told me, you are on my death list, because their business lines were down and we had to deal with US West, and they were not so kind because we were basically kind of like a second-rate customer for them. They didn't want to help us, but they had to. But they got to drag their feet in the process. And so in that process, I had people that got very angry with me. And so for me to step forward and sell a product, I knew that I had to be completely aligned in my heart, that it was something that I got to choose. I got to choose, and it was choosing me, and choosing to sell myself, choosing to sell my product, and coming from that unwavering space of love, knowing what kind of breakthroughs are there for you. I spoke to a classmate of mine who's dealing with breast cancer. And we had a beautiful conversation. I shared with her some beautiful ahas, and, I hope that if she doesn't choose the coaching program, she'll choose the breathwork, because she knows the value of it. And I believe it's just a money conversation, which is, whenever it's a money conversation, it's a value conversation of showing that, is there value here for me? And like unwaveringly, if you stand in love in your heart, you can do this on your own. You totally can do this on your own. And when you have a coach next to you who's standing unwavering in love with you, you exponentiate your power of knowing the light within yourself, because you have a lighthouse that is shining light into you, helping you to rekindle the light within you so that you can see it yourself and you can begin to feel more deeply. And had a beautiful conversation with a friend yesterday, and felt so honored in his share of how he's opening his heart and beginning to feel, where he was in numbness for years and years and years and years. And we've been on this journey of friendship together, and it's platonic. He's my soul brother, and I've really, he is one person that I've had to come to terms with He is my soul brother. He is my brother in Christ love, in divine love, and knowing that I get to be that lighthouse so that he can find his way out. And that's a gift. And so we get to maintain a beautiful friendship and knowing that he is my soul brother. And I love him so very much. And I don't have to lower my vibration to that point of sadness, grief, separation, the old stories, the limiting belief patterns, in order to help him, in order to help anyone. Because the only way I can help you is if I stay aligned in the truth of my divine light within, which has been like a continuous, 5 years of extreme grief, and I'm going to call it a gift, of losing my sister, losing my mom, losing my dad, losing 2 cousins, losing dear, dear friends, a dear fellow coach, and helping to feel them be. So in that lower vibration of grief, I can't feel them, but whenever I would elevate my vibration and I was coming from that divine space of love, they were my divine cheerleaders. There they are, they're cheering me on, and I can feel them and I can be with them, and I feel so, so divinely blessed and grateful. So I'm honored to be here with you today. I know this has been a hugely long session. If you've made it this far, please send me a message below. I listened to the whole thing, and let me know what you thought, because so often I feel like I'm sharing a message in the world and nobody's hearing me, and that's a victim story. That's a separation story, and I'm not living from that space anymore. So if you are listening to the end of this, please post something below. Share it with a friend that you know it would help, because we're here to help lift and raise each other into a higher vibration, which is unwavering love, which you get to choose, which you get to be, and which you get to live from. This is Jacqueline with Vibrational Energy Solutions. Hoping you are making it a great day. Sending so much love your way. Bye for now.